We're going to meet a business friend of Don's in just a moment, John.Horwood. But you may remember already meeting him on 100 Huntley Street What I Do segment a while back. Here's a brief clip before we chat with him here in the studio.
Welcome to Canada's top investment team. We've built up, I think, Canada's top-ranked independent advisory firm, basically from scratch, and being able to use the best possible ethics and business principles in doing it.
We believe in everything that we do in our personal life, church life, in our work life is ministry.
Married in 1985.
I believe that God has called both John and I together to do what we are doing.
This husband and wife's corporate coming together didn't happen until 2 years later when Rebecca, the first female investment advisor on Bay Street, became pregnant.
I said to John, we have this great clientele, have built up a top-notch business, and I need you to quit your job, John. Come and join me in the practice.
A chartered accountant one day and an assistant to his wife the next, John joined Richardson Greenshield, making the Horwoods a duo in demand.
What we were able to do as a couple was to drive that business to the point where we were the most successful advisory team. Then we transferred over to Richardson Partners. We now have one of the most successful practices anywhere in Canada.
And they've done it all with the guidance of God.
We focused on a biblical principle, and we focused on a verse in Zechariah. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, said the Lord God Almighty.
Wow. And John.Horwood joins us right now in the studio. John, welcome. And you're obviously a big proponent of having God as a top priority in your business life.
Certainly am. He's the boss of our family business.
Yeah. And people wouldn't forgive me if we get a man of your financial background and experience. Are we out of the recession? Are the worst times behind us?
I think this week we celebrated the 1-year anniversary of the bottom of the stock market, the famous 666 mark on the S&P index. It's 1 year since the worst was over, and the world looks a whole lot better place than it did a year ago.
So I've got a question. We have our board of directors of Crossroads Christian Communications, the ministry, the charity, and the board of directors of CTS, the business, which is a television network, producing a lot of hours of television. The board of directors of both of these organizations, boards of directors, I should say, made the decision to invite Don to become chairman and CEO. Did they make the right decision? You work with him, you were on a board, you're still on a board of a bank, as a director of a bank with Don. Did they make the right decision? And if so, why is it the right decision?
I've really learned to appreciate Don over the last 2 years, where I think in the financial world and in the business world have probably been two of the most difficult years of a generation. Don's ability and his sense of business, his love for people, and his faith are clearly evident in my experience with him in business, aside from ministry. So I don't think there's anybody I know that would be a better fit for this job. I think you've got the prize.
Well, right on.
And of course,
I wouldn't want Don to
hear that.
But,
yeah. Well, and of course,
actually, he threatened to say when I asked him, Don who? So I told him, when you're a financial person, if you don't keep your sense of humor, especially in the last year, you're in big trouble.
Well, I did, and I thought of John as we were talking about our theme today, which is friendship and innovation, because our friendship has grown quite a bit through our business experience, not always the easiest experience, as a matter of fact, which is often where friendships really take deep roots. But you're an innovator yourself, John, not only in the financial world, but from a ministry point of view. I've been impressed really by a notion that you've had that I've resonated with, which is really trying to encourage different ministries to work together and increase their effectiveness that way. Tell us a little bit more about your vision for that.
I think working together is a theme that Rebecca and I have used both in our practice, in our family business, working together as a family, but also I see huge opportunity for us to work together for the kingdom. So often in the downtown space, in the financial space, we've seen a huge number of small ministries, quite often unfocused, not necessarily well organized. And so I've tried to use my business experience and business acumen to encourage them to come together. And so we've arranged some sort of informal special programs, which we refer to as Purpose at Work, where we organize breakfasts and we encourage all the various ministry and Christian people in our community to dialogue with each other, to work together, and hopefully they'll find ways to share best practice and come together for the good of the kingdom.
How can Crossroads, in your judgment, Crossroads here, 100 Huntley Street, CTS, the television network, how can we contribute to that vision that you have for coming together and working together?
Well, I think you should recognize that you have a massive influence. And obviously, you know, we constantly hear about the media influence on the world, and Don certainly appreciates the influence on young people through his daughter Shauna's ministry. But you have an enormous influence. So what gets said and what gets done on Crossroads will translate, I think, directly into that space and into our environment. So
this might be the time to just say that Shauna has hosted the children's series TQ for a number of years, and I think still on CTS, as well as it's all over the place in the United States and so on. So that you mentioned Shauna, it gives me excuse because Don he's a little humble there in that regard.
Yes. He has no reason to be.
We've always loved connecting with other organizations, with other ministries, highlighting them on 100 Huntley Street and helping out in whatever way we can. And I know that's part of Don's heart as we've been talking about ways to work together in partnership with other ministries, other organizations, because there's such efficiencies and unity and greater effectiveness overall when we do that.
And John's really, his mantra has been stronger together, and that's what, I guess it's one of the things that attracts me to the vision John has had. And John, as we close off here, working in business, you and I both experienced the challenge of maintaining integrity, our Christian integrity, in the world of business.
Yes.
And we've had lots to talk about in that regard, and you've been a person that's stayed true to that, in my experience. Can you talk about that challenge and some of the...
I think, Don, there is a massive tension. I mean, there's a very good reason why the Bible spends so much time talking about money and the risks associated with money and the challenges. That it's very, very easy, especially working on Bay Street, to get sucked in and to leave your integrity behind or leave it in the church parking lot. And it's very, very fortunate that Rebecca and I are able to partner together and to encourage each other and to keep each other faithful in this area, because where I come from at King and Bay, money is king. And when we go up and down the elevators every day, people aren't talking about their families or their faith, they're talking about money. And so we need to keep that very, very focused and very much in mind, because that's our salt and light opportunity in the community in which we operate and we live every day.
And John, as fellow board members, we've had integrity tests.
Yes.
And I have appreciated working with you and your support. And the fact that our references for integrity have been the same.
We've been stress tested undoubtedly over the last year.
And I appreciate that. Thank you for your support.
My pleasure.
What are those two words again, Don? Stronger together? Was
Stronger together, yes.
Okay, Ron, call for the next video.
Okay, that's good. John, thank you so much, and we're very glad you're there on Bay Street.